What's going on, guys? Back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing my entire Blu-ray collection as part of hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. This is going to be a lengthy video, so make sure you got your snacks, you got your drinks. There's I want to say about 609 movies and counting. This is all Blu-rays, not counting DVDs, any TV shows, and of course no duplicates. So the way I sort things is pretty straightforward. It is in alphabetical order, but I do sometimes break it up into genres. Like all the animated films are together, all the westerns are together, and if there are franchises, I do try to keep them together. Kicking things off with my first film, that is the anime section, and we have Ghost in the Shell on 4K. Really great movie, very atmospheric. We have, of course, Grave of Fireflies that came out earlier this year. Howl's Moving Castle, classic, one of the first anime films I had seen. One of the best animes out there, Perfect Blue. Satoshi Kon is really great. I think any of his movies are worth checking out. A Silent Voice, this is the Steelbook. I think this is one of the more underappreciated anime films. Of course, there's Spirited Away, one of my favorites and one of the most influential anime films of all time. Princess Kaguya, I think not many people give this a try. I think it's a really great anime. It's actually my second favorite anime of all time. Now we got classics, Disney films, as well as other animated films. We have, of course, Aladdin, one of the first Disney classics I watched when I was growing up, so I really like that one. Alice in Wonderland, also a classic. I know we've had some live action ones. I always loved the costume design, but I think the live action films just didn't capture the story as well as I wanted it as in the animated film. Of course, Beauty and the Beast, also grew up with that one. We have a more recent, I guess not so much recent, but Coco, really great Pixar film. I know Pixar has been dropping the ball as of late, but that film is a reminder of some of the good ones. Chicken Run, this is, oddly enough, this is the German import, because when this came out originally, there was no run in the US. Despicable Me, just the first one. I do enjoy the second one. I think the third one really dips in quality. Then we got Dinosaur. This is one of the most visually striking films I had seen then, and still to this day really holds up. I think some people are not a fan of the story. They say it's a little too dry for them. But you know, that's kind of fitting because the dinosaurs are looking for water the entire film. So yeah, it is going to be a little dry. Finding Nemo, of course. I don't have Finding Dory, but I do like that one too. My favorite Wes Anderson film, Fantastic Mr. Fox. And we have Frankenweenie, one of my favorite Tim Burton films. A very obscure Hungarian animated film called Heroic Times. Do check this one out if you are a fan of any international animated features. Kubo and the Two Strings, great movie. I don't think this gets enough love. And then we have the Lego Movie. I haven't seen this since it came out, but I did remember enjoying watching it. The Batman Lego Movie, I think, came out, and that kind of came and went, and I have no memory of that. Of course, we have Lilo and Stitch. This has both movies, but really the first one is the best one, and then obviously I just won't own any of the live action remakes of any of these classics. I don't think we really need them, and they're not touching these animated classics. Speaking of classics, we have The Lion King. Also one of my first Disney classics that I had seen growing up. Speaking of classics, we're still heading that territory. We got Monsters Inc., of course, one of my favorites. Halloween, Halloween, this is Halloween. Tim Burton, well, it's not directed by Tim Burton, but it is based on Tim Burton's poem, which is Nightmare Before Christmas, which Danny Elfman delivers some of his best music in this film. Very catchy, very memorable animated film. The Peanuts Movie. It's a fun one. And then we got Pinocchio. I will say that the Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio has kind of dethroned this one for me, but I still do enjoy this one. Rango. I don't think people talk about this one enough. If you want to say that animated films are only for kids, watch Rango. I think more adults like this movie than kids. And then of course we have Shrek. I've only enjoyed the first one. I know a lot of people loved like the second and the third ones. I didn't really get much out of them. We have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, one of the most creative and interestingly made films in recent years, and that goes to say with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, just visually stunning looking animated films. Then of course we got Toy Story, the trilogy. Now, the fourth one is enjoyable, but I feel like the first three wrap up everything in such a bow tie that we just don't need that fourth film. Yes, it's okay, it's an enjoyable watch, but I don't think we need it. And they're making a fifth one too. Up. Then we have WALL-E. Wreck-It Ralph. And that wraps up all of my animated features in the collection. Now we're going to go from numerical order all the way down to alphabetical order. So, the first film I have is 8-Pole Diagram Fighter. This is a classic martial arts kung fu film. If you like these type of movies, this is hands down the one to watch. 10 Cloverfield Lane. We have the 300 Spartans. I remember watching this in 3rd grade, and this was one of the first movies I'd ever seen, and it kind of stuck with me. Now, since then, I feel like the quality of this has dipped from when I remember watching this in 3rd grade, but I still prefer this over the Zack Snyder 300 films. This is the more realistic. It's definitely not as flashy. It's not going to be as action heavy with the slow-mos and the blood splatter, but you know, it sticks to the basics, and I think it did well. 1408, Stephen King adaptation. 1917, one of my favorite war films of all time. 2001: A Space Odyssey, can't go wrong with a Kubrick film. These ones are guilty pleasures. The Ace Ventura films, the first one and the second one. The second one, you know, I feel like has a couple of Jim Carrey moments that I remember, but the first one's where it's at. We have The Admiral. If you want naval battles, this is the movie to watch. We don't get a whole ton of them. I think Master and Commander was one of them, and then last year we got one in the Gladiator 2 film. So we just don't get movies like this anymore. So please do check that one out. And if you do watch it, check out the third film, Nor Yang, which came out, I think it was last year as well. I skipped the second one. The second one feels a little redundant. It doesn't have as good of acting. The battle sequences, they feel repetitive. I mean, it's just kind of unnecessary. So I watched the first one and I watched the third one, and it's just satisfying enough. And then we have my favorite Werner Herzog film, and that's Aguirre, The Wrath of God. Klaus Kinski, he's a menace in this film, and he's just absolutely fantastic. It's a 98-minute film. If you want to watch any international film that's short, just to get a flavor of Werner Herzog, check this one out. Next one's up, we have the Alfred Hitchcock Complete Collection. I don't want to say Complete Collection. This was actually only 14 movies in this one. This is the UK import, so it actually doesn't have North by Northwest in this one, which is fine because I got a really good deal out of it. But this has a lot of his classic films in here: Psycho, Rear Window, Rope, The Trouble with Harry, which I think is really underappreciated, The Birds. I mean, it has really, this is like the essentials and more. Then we have All Quiet on the Western Front. This is from 1930. This is the original one. I know they had come out with one in the 70s, and then obviously the new one that came out on Netflix a few years back. Honestly, the original still has it. I mean, you're not beating the effects in this movie because they're actually real effects. They're real artillery. All Is Lost, Robert Redford, R.I.P. Amadeus, really great film. American Fiction. I really love this movie. I've seen it already like 3 or 4 times, and it came out like 2 years ago. This is such a fun and funny film. American Psycho. Next one up, Annette. This is one of my favorites from a couple of years ago. Really hard to get this one. This is a region import. You're not going to find this in the States. Annihilation. The Apartment. Billy Wilder. Has some incredible films. Of course, Apocalypse Now. We got a Francis Ford Coppola film. This is a limited edition, collector's edition of Apocalypto. Mel Gibson, you know, he sometimes is able to make some really fantastic movies. Not this year. This year he chose to do Flight Risk. We got Apollo 13. I haven't seen that one in a while. I do need to revisit it. We have Argo. Arrival. The Art of Self-Defense. Jesse Eisenberg is really great in this one. Atonement. Do I show the cover? Do I not? Is it a spoiler? It's Edition. If you haven't seen any South Korean films, that's not a bad one to start with. Of course, we have Avatar, just the first one. This is I haven't upgraded to 4K because I really do like this box set. And of course, I also then picked up Avatar: The Way of Water. Really looking forward to seeing the third one. I don't see it topping the second film, but you know, visually they're all just masterful achievements in technology and just storytelling. Really like those movies. Babylon. Damien Chazelle just keeps hitting it out of the park with his movies. The Babadook, one of my favorite horror films of all time. Edgar Wright, Baby Driver. It's a really fun one. Of course, we got the Back to the Future trilogy. This is such a fun, classic, you know, adventure. Can't go wrong with this. I had it on Blu-ray and I recently upgraded it on 4K. We have the Bad Times at the El Royale. It's a fun one. It feels like an Alfred Hitchcock film at times. I really enjoyed this one. The Legend of the Black Scorpion, or also known as The Banquet. I don't think anybody talks about this movie. Please watch this movie if you can dig it up somewhere. More people need to have eyes on this. Really fantastic, just beautifully told film. We have the 4 Batman films. Really, it's just for the first 2, mainly Batman Returns, but then you have Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. They exist, and for some reason I have them in my collection. Batman Begins. I know, people are going to be like, why didn't he upgrade on 4K? Just never did. I think they look pretty good on Blu-ray. The Dark Knight, of course. And we're going to round things off with The Dark Knight Rises. Christopher Nolan. Then we have Man of Steel. I put them all together with the Batman films because we have Batman v Superman. That's next. And then, of course, the Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League. I can't believe that, you know, I watched the original Justice League and it was just almost unwatchable. And then they came out with the Justice League Zack Snyder cut and it was so much better that I actually own it. I do like this one. And then, of course, we have Matt Reeves' The Batman. I mean, I am really considering this as being one of my favorite Batman films. It might be my favorite. Just kind of crazy. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't really need a second Batman film from Matt Reeves. I feel like anything would just tarnish his vision for the first one. We have Be Kind Rewind. Really enjoy this one. It's funny. Jack Black, he's superb in that. Beautiful Mind. Beetlejuice. Just the first one. I did enjoy the second one. Don't think I'll be picking that one up though. Of course, we have Tom Hanks in Big. That's like your opinion, man. Big Lebowski. One of the best stoner comedies out there. Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. Michael Keaton, Emma Stone, and Edward Norton are all fantastic in this movie. And then of course we have Darren Aronofsky's Black Swan. Alright, let's try moving some of these titles without them creating an avalanche and killing me. No. And then there's Spike Lee's Black Klansman. The original Blade Runner film. We have Blade Runner 2049, of course. Mel Gibson film, Bloodfather. I haven't seen that one in a while. I need to revisit it. The Blues Brothers, really good film. We have A24 film, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I do have the Humphrey Bogart collection. It has 4 of his films: Casablanca, The Maltese Falcon, Treasure of Sierra Madre, and The African Queen. The Bourne trilogy, I do not have Legacy. I thought it was solid. And then they came up with the 5th Bourne film, and I thought that was okay as well. Like, there hasn't been any bad ones per se, but I only really need the first 3. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Broken City. William Friedkin's Bug. One of my favorites from him. Cabin in the Woods. Casino. I recently saw this year and I really loved it. Thought it was fantastic. Castaway. Steven Spielberg's Catch Me If You Can. Charade. This is one of the best non-Alfred Hitchcock movies that feels like an Alfred Hitchcock film. Cary Grant, Audrey Hepburn, they're pretty good in this. I really like their performances. Challengers. Chicago. I really enjoyed this musical. I haven't seen the Broadway, but when the movie came out, I saw it a few years later, and I really enjoyed it. And on rewatch, I still really enjoyed the performances. Cinderella Man, one of my favorite boxing films. Russell Crowe. A Clockwork Orange. Cloverfield. Not a big fan of these shaky cam found footage films, but this was the first film I had seen, and I thought it was alright. I enjoyed it. Collateral. The Color Purple. I still need to see the original, but I thought this as a musical worked very well. The first Conjuring film. The second Conjuring film, and that is where I ended with the Conjuring films. Don't think we need any other ones. The Conspirator. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. So it was very good. One of my favorites of that year. Nick Cage in Color Out of Space. This is the Steelbook. One of the Universal classic films, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Also on Steelbook. And then we have Ang Lee's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I'm not big on Doomsday films anymore, but I remember liking The Day After Tomorrow, and I've had this in my collection for a very long time. Dark Waters. This is a must-watch film. Deadpool, I just own the first one. I like the first one. The second one, I actually didn't really like at all. And then the third film had its moments. Felt like a one-time watch, really. Dial M for Murder, another Alfred Hitchcock film. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Another Steelbook, and that is District 9. Then we have Disturbia, the modern remake of Rear Window. And then we have a Spike Lee joint, and that's Do the Right Thing. Don't Breathe, Donnie Darko. Dream Scenario, Drive. Then we have some classic Jackie Chan films, The Snake and the Eagle's Shadow, and The Drunken Master. And where there's The Drunken Master, you know I'm following it up with The Drunken Master 2. One of my favorite martial arts films of all time, and if you're going to own this, if you're going to watch this on Blu-ray, this is the one to own. It's in its original language. It's not going to have the horrendous English dub. Steven Spielberg's Duel. This is one of his first movies. It was a TV special. A TV special that is very worthy of like a full feature film. Of course, Dune and Dune 2. And we're back to Christopher Nolan with Dunkirk. Moving on to the E's, we have E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Edge of 17, Edward Scissorhands, the Steelbook, I haven't seen that one in a very long time. Need to revisit that. Enemy of the State, kind of a guilty pleasure. Solid film. Denis Villeneuve's Enemy. I think it's quite an underrated film. Enemy at the Gates. Enter the Dragon, of course. My entry into martial arts films. Aaron Brockovich. Escape from Alcatraz. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Really great movie. Ex Machina. The Daniels. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. We got this year's F1. One of the best racing films. John Woo's Face Off. More martial arts films. My favorite, actually, Jet Li's Fearless. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The Fiddler on the Roof. We don't talk about Fight Club. First Blood. Just the first one. I do enjoy the second film. The third one is just alright, and then after that I just didn't really have much interest in the series. Then we have David Cronenberg's The Fly. It's my favorite film from that director. Another racing film, Ford v Ferrari. James Mangold really hits it out of the park with that. Billy Wilder, you know, I was going on a streak with his films, and it continued with The Fortune Cookie. I don't think a lot of people show any love for this one. And then, of course, Frost Nixon. Just recently rewatched this. It still holds up very well, even though it's just one long conversation. But thought this was a fascinating watch. Next up is one of the best thrillers of all time. That's The Fugitive. Harrison Ford is fantastic in this movie. And Fury. Game Night. It's a fun comedy. Gattaca. Gangs of New York. The first two Ghostbusters films. Have had zero interest in the new ones. The Green Knight. Green Mile. Groundhog Day. Then we have the Harry Potter films. I have The Sorcerer's Stone, of course, The Chamber of Secrets, and The Prisoner of Azkaban. Those are the only three I have on 4K because those are my favorite ones. And then I just do own the whole series on Blu-ray as well. I also do have the Hogwarts collection. It's in like a shelf over there. So I do have quite a bit of these movies, double dipping, triple dipping, I guess. And then I do have this Finnish film called Hatching. Really good horror film. Hugo, Michael Mann's Heat, Hellboy 1, and Hellboy 2. Of course, we have Hereditary, a new Christmas classic, The Holdovers. Really enjoyed that one. An Iranian film, Holy Spider. Really good. It's just such a gripping thriller. Of course, we have the classic Home Alone, The Hurt Locker, I Saw the Devil, one of the best Korean films out there. I also have In the Land of Saints and Sinners. This is actually a recent Liam Neeson film. In the Name of the Father, cannot go wrong with the Daniel Day-Lewis film. The Mouth of Madness, this is my favorite John Carpenter film. Of course, we have another Christopher Nolan film, Inception. And the Indiana Jones quadrilogy. You know, with all the hate that Crystal Skull gets, I do still enjoy it, especially when the fifth one came out, and that was just really bad. Tarantino movie, Inglourious Basterds. Spike Lee, Inside Man, really good one. And another Christopher Nolan film, Insomnia with Al Pacino. To keep this Christopher Nolan bandwagon going, because we have another one, that's Interstellar, one of my favorites from him. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Classic horror film. And this Japanese film, Irizumi. It Comes at Night. Super underappreciated horror film. And then a Christmas classic, It's a Wonderful Life. Some more martial arts films, the Ip Man trilogy. I do enjoy these quite a bit. Still nothing beats really the first one, but the other two are pretty good too. Another Tarantino film, Jackie Brown. And then we're going to go into some of the James Bond films. Dr. No, this is the first Sean Connery James Bond film, followed by From Russia with Love, and then his other film, Goldfinger, which is my favorite Sean Connery James Bond film. And then of course I do have the Daniel Craig collection. I do have his first 3 Bond films, and then No Time to Die as well. Next up is Jaws. I do own Jaws too. I know, it's kind of a guilty pleasure. Jingle All the Way. Joker. I do own the Jurassic Park series. This is the first 3 films, and this is the infamous one that requires you to buy Jurassic World to complete the collection in this like digibook style thing. So I do own Jurassic World. Would I ever visit Jurassic World? Probably not, but I do want to revisit Jurassic World Rebirth. I think it's one of the best Jurassic World films, and I'd say rivals the third Jurassic Park film. And I have California. Just the first two Karate Kid films. The Kill Bill series. If the Whole Bloody Affair comes out, I'd probably be picking that one up on 4K. We have The King's Speech. I haven't really revisited this. I mean, clearly, this is still in the shrink wrap. I enjoyed this film when I first watched it. I feel like this is just going to dip in quality when watching it a second time. I don't know. I bought it a while ago. And then King Arthur. The Kingdom of Heaven. I think the director's cut is actually really good. By Peter Jackson's King Kong. Followed by Knowing, Knives Out, La La Land, The Last Duel. Another Edgar Wright film, Last Night in Soho. Another Michael Mann film, The Last of the Mohicans. The Last Samurai. The very hard to get Lawrence of Arabia on 4K. La Trow, this is the French import. There's no other way of owning this movie on Blu-ray, unfortunately. And the 4 Lethal Weapon film collection. Les Miserables. Leon the Professional. I have Life of Pi. Liar Liar, Jim Carrey classic. Then we have Limitless. Logan. Logan Lucky. Followed by the Hobbit trilogy. I do own all 3 of them. I do enjoy them. I think they get a lot of hate. They're not as good as Lord of the Rings, but they're still very watchable movies. And of course we're going to follow that up with Lord of the Rings. Then we have Lost Horizon. It's the Frank Capra film. And then this is where I put the Mad Max series. So I have Mad Max and Furiosa. I still need to see the Mel Gibson Mad Max films. And then I have Major League, one of my favorite baseball films. Now get ready for my Marvel films, because I put them right here under M. And the first title I have is Iron Man. Still one of the best superhero films, even after all these years later. This one still holds up very well. The first Avenger, I do like it. The Avengers film, a little more underwhelming considering all the other Avengers films that have come out now, but still good. Thor, it's solid. Avengers Age of Ultron, it was dirt cheap. I enjoyed aspects of it. It's not great. Guardians of the Galaxy, this one is great. Then we have Winter Soldier, also one of the best Marvel films. The Dark World, not very good. Again, dirt cheap. Ant-Man, do like that one quite a bit. Civil War has very enjoyable moments. Overall, I did have fun with this one. Spider-Man, this is the first one with Tom Holland. I liked it. I haven't bought any of the other ones. Then we have Black Panther. And then we're wrapping it up with Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. And after that, Marvel kind of died. Because we've been either having really terrible Marvel films or just very average films. Next up is The Martian, Master and Commander, the first Matrix film. And I do own, obviously, this previously owned one with all 3 of them. Really, the first one is where it's at. Of course, one of my favorites, Christopher Nolan again, in Memento. I have the Men in Black trilogy. I haven't revisited this in a long time, but I do remember enjoying them. The Mexican. It's a Gore Verbinski film. I do really like this movie. I know it has its naysayers, but it's quite good. $1 Million Baby, one of Clint Eastwood's finest films. Misery. This recent director just passed away, so rest in peace to him. It was a very, very tragic death. But he made some really excellent movies. We have the Mission Impossible 4-film collection, and then obviously they continued making them, so I bought Rogue Nation, which has actually become one of my favorites, and Fallout, also very worthy entry, followed by Dead Reckoning, which is very good. And then Dead Reckoning 2 just dropped the ball and became a very average film with really good stunt work and some really good editing. And that's all I'm going to remember out of that movie, really. And the biplane sequence, of course. I think this one is my favorite baseball movie. I know I said Major League was one of my favorites, but Moneyball is probably one of the best written baseball films. We have Moon, Moonstruck, one of my favorite Nick Cage films. Morgiana, it's a Czech film. We have Ms. Doubtfire, the first Mummy film, and Mummy Returns. One of my favorite comedies of all time, My Cousin Vinny. My Fair Lady, The Naked Gun trilogy. And then we have the National Treasure films, like both of them. I had always waited for a third film and it just never happened. These are just fun, kind of Indiana Jones ripoffs, but they're fun. I really enjoyed them. Nebraska, The Negotiator. I feel like nobody ever talks about this movie. The Next 3 Days, The Nice Guys. I remember watching this in theaters and thought this was great. Nightcrawler, Darren Aronofsky's Noah, Nocturnal Animals. Back when Liam Neeson was still doing good action films, nonstop. The Werner Herzog Nosferatu. My favorite Nosferatu like variation. October Sky. I remember seeing that in school and really liking it. It still holds up very well. Ocean's 11. This is the only Ocean's movie I own. Oddity, super underrated horror film from a couple of years ago. Office Space, one of my favorite comedies of all time. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest that just recently came out. More Christopher Nolan films. Starting to be a pattern, right? Of course, Oppenheimer. Paddington 2. I just own Paddington 2. It seems odd, but this is a very great family-friendly comedy. It's a fun little adventure. And you don't even need to see the first film. Then we have Bong Joon-ho's Parasite. A guilty pleasure film, The Patriot. Beautiful Polish film, The Peasants. Perfect Getaway. I do enjoy this thriller. It's quite underrated. Probably Joel Schumacher's best film, Phone Booth. The Pianist, Pirates of the Caribbean films. The first 3 are really the ones to watch. The 4th one is like, you know, might as well. And then the 5th one happened and you're like, let's not talk about that one. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Predestination. Premium Rush. I remember the story wasn't the greatest, but I just really liked the energy and the pacing and the editing in this film. The Prestige, Prisoners. Do own Psycho. Again, this is the Steelbook one. Public Enemies, another Michael Mann film. Pulp Fiction. Ready or Not. This was a really fun, original film, and what do? Now they're making a second one. Why? Money, that's why. Ready Player One. Kind of unconventional Steven Spielberg film, but it's I do like that one. It was one of my favorites of that year. John Woo. Again, not a whole lot of people check this one out. They watch some of his more popular films. Hard Boiled, for an example, you know, but Red Cliff never gets mentioned. First 2 films, especially the second one, really good. Requiem for a Dream. This one is bound to stick with you. It's a heck of a movie. Rescue Dawn. Recently rewatched this. It was actually my first Werner Herzog film. Still packs a punch. This is a really great war film. Reservoir Dogs. Really like this slip cover. It pops off. I don't know if you've watched the movie, you know. This is actually my favorite Tarantino film. The Revenant. Revenge. Gore Verbinski's The Ring. Followed by RoboCop. This was $1. Can you believe this was $1? We have the Rocky Balboa collection, the heavyweight collection. It basically has the first 5 films plus Rocky Balboa. Really the first 4 are the ones I ever want to watch. Rocky Balboa is solid, and then Rocky 5 happened. You know, it seems to be a trend where the 5th movie just completely falls off in like any franchise. Except Mission Impossible. That somehow tried to stay alive. I want to say try. It's the last film. Kind of dropped the ball there, but more racing films. Rush. These ones are kind of a guilty pleasure. The Rush Hour trilogy. Another baseball movie, The Sandlot. Say hello to my little friend. Scarface. Schindler's List. Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Secret Window. Conceptually very good. For I'd say half of the movie, the thrilling aspects work very well. The payoff isn't the greatest, but I still enjoy the movie. The Shaw Brothers collection. This has Challenge of the Master, The Executioners from Shaolin, and I mainly got this for Heroes of the East and Dirty Ho. Really great 4-film collection for any martial arts fan. We have M. Night Shyamalan in Signs. Side effects. And there's Silence of the Lambs, of course. This year's Sinners, one of my favorite films this year. The Sixth Sense. Shadow. Really good movie. I saw this on Netflix and I was just amazed by this movie. The Shawshank Redemption. I do own the Sherlock Holmes series, the first and second film. Billy Wilder, Some Like It Hot. Classic. If you have never seen a Billy Wilder film, this is a great movie to start with. My favorite William Friedkin film, Sorcerer. Really great and such an intense film to watch. We have Spaceballs, and there's Stanley Kubrick's Spartacus, Steelbook. Speed, just own the first one. And the Spider-Man trilogy, this is the original. I do own the first Star Trek film. This is the reboot versions. And Into Darkness. I know, sue me. I own Into Darkness. It's actually a pretty solid film. Then I have Strange Darling. Strangers on a Train, the Alfred Hitchcock film. And there's Sully. More Billy Wilder films. Sunset Boulevard. Classic film. Superbad. I haven't seen this in a very long time. I'm very curious if I still like this movie. Nick Cage and the Surfer. This came out this year. It's still, I believe, in my top 10. Like, very good film. And then, of course, Sweeney Todd. A horror musical. We need to have more of those. And to kick off T, I have the Taisho trilogy. And Talented Mr. Ripley. Taxi Driver. Ted. Just the first one. More Christopher Nolan movies. Tenet. Terminator 1. Terminator 2. And yeah, Terminator 3. It's still solid. After that, Terminator kind of disappeared off the face of the planet, even though they tried to keep rebooting the damn thing. Theater of Blood. 3 Billboards. Titanic. Some more guilty pleasure films. Get ready. The Lara Croft Tomb Raider series. Just the first one and the second one. The new one I thought was solid. Didn't really enjoy it as much. One of Ben Affleck's best movies, The Town, and Total Recall. I have Train Spotting. Twisters, very fun film. Actually, I like this more than the first film. The Truman Show, one of Jim Carrey's best movies. I do own the Underworld series. I really like just the first and the third one. Everything else, not so much. United 93. Unbreakable, this is my favorite M. Night Shyamalan film. Uncut Gems, Adam Sandler, probably his best role. I mean, he's pretty fantastic in this. Unsane. The Usual Suspects. Yeah, $3 at Big Lots for this one, when they were still around. V for Vendetta. Guilty Pleasure Time. Vampire's Kiss. Really like that one. Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street, one of my favorites from him. And then I do own Wonder Woman. Just the first one. The second one, I don't know what the heck happened with that movie. I have Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler. Another guilty pleasure, get ready. It's an Adam Sandler film. Don't mess with a Zohan. The X-Men series, so this is basically I want to say the first 6 movies? Yeah, X-Men, X2, X-Men Last Stand, X-Men Origins, First Class, and Wolverine. And then I do own X-Men Days of Future Past, and that's where that ends. Alright, next I have Witness for Prosecution, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I do have the Vengeance trilogy. This is a Park Chan-wook's collection with Old Boy, Lady Vengeance, and Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. Where Dreams May Come, Robin Williams. Warrior. Warriors. The Whale. Another Rob Reiner film. When Harry Met Sally. One of my favorite films of all time, Whiplash. If you have not seen this movie, please watch it. It's fantastic. And then the next bunch are just like collection films, like they're just multiple movies in one box set. So I have the 300 Troy and Alexander collection. I don't know if I'll ever watch any of these. Like 300 I've watched and I don't like it anymore. Alexander Revisited was never that good to begin with. Really owning this because of just Troy basically. And then we have the Braveheart, Gladiator, and Saving Private Ryan collection. Then we have the John Hughes one. The Breakfast Club and 16 Candles are the only ones I really care to visit. Weird Science saw once, and I was like, alright, I don't really need to watch it again. Shutter Island and The Aviator. I have Unknown and The Edge of Darkness. And then some Jim Carrey films, Dumb and Dumber and The Mask. So that rounds out this side of the collection. Now on the other side I have Westerns and some of my Criterions. So let's dive right into those. So the Westerns are separate because it's one of my favorite genres of all time, so I did separate them out. My first one is 3:10 to Yuma. It's probably my favorite Western to date. Then there's Appaloosa, The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford, Bone Tomahawk. Some of the more obscure films are in here too. The Bravados, Cemetery Without Crosses. So do check those ones out. I think they're really good. There's some smaller titles, and then there's Cold Mountain, Cowboys and Aliens. This one's a guilty pleasure. Kevin Costner's finest film, Dances with the Wolves. And then there's The Day of the Outlaw, Death Rides a Horse. I'm sure you've heard some of the music in this film in the Kill Bill films. More Tarantino, Django Unchained. Then of course we have the Dollars trilogy. I have Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more, which is my personal favorite. And then I do own The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and it's in this 3-pack collection with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and the original Magnificent Seven. And I have Extreme Prejudice, another Tarantino film, The Hateful Eight, neo-western, Hell or High Water, High Noon, In the Valley of Violence, The Last Train from Gun Hill, The Lone Ranger, another neo-western, No Country for Old Men, The Outlaw Josie Wales, Sam Raimi film, The Quick and the Dead. It's his version of the Dollars trilogy. It's definitely a lot more campier. Seraphim Falls with Pierce Brosnan and Liam Neeson. The Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights films. Those are really fun films with Jackie Chan. Of course we have There Will Be Blood, Tombstone, True Grit. This is like a metal pack from Target. Then I have Unforgiven. And then last and not least, we have Westworld. This is the original film before the TV show came out. So that wraps up the Westerns. Let's go on to the Criterions. We'll start with Ace in the Hole, Billy Wilder film. One of Roy Scheider's best films, all that jazz. This is such a creative and just like energetic film. One heck of a movie. Anatomy of a Murder, one of the best courtroom dramas ever made. Barry Lyndon, one of the most beautifully made films from Stanley Kubrick. It's a visual delight. The Coen brothers' directorial debut in Blood Simple. Bicycle Thieves, this is a real gut-punching film. Citizen Kane, one of my favorite Charlie Chaplin films. City Lights, this is a real tearjerker. Deep Crimson, recently discovered this one. Same goes with Demon Pond. Another Billy Wilder film, Double Indemnity, one of the best noir films out there. Election, Elevator to the Gallows. Another Hitchcock film, Foreign Correspondent. Charlie Chaplin, it's my favorite film of his, Gold Rush. The Graduate, one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, Akira Kurosawa, and his High and Low is my favorite film of his, actually. Another Wes Anderson film, Isle of Dogs. I recently saw Richard Pryor's film, Jojo Dancer. Really enjoyed this one. Stanley Kubrick's The Killing. La Poison. Another Hitchcock film, The Lady Vanishes. Les Corbeaux. Letter Never Sent. Lost in America. One of my favorite German films, M. Make Way for Tomorrow. David Lynch, what can you say? Mulholland Drive, one of the best films he's ever made. My Dinner with Andre, such a fascinating conversation at a dinner table for like 2 hours. One of the best zombie films out there, The Night of the Living Dead. One of Guillermo del Toro's finest works, Pan's Labyrinth. After watching Perfect Days, I did want to see more of Wim Wenders' work, and I did check out Paris, Texas, and I thought it was a fantastic movie. Pinocchio, this is, like I said before, I think this is the best Pinocchio film we have to date. Guillermo del Toro, no surprise. And there's one of the first heist films ever made, Rafifi. The Red Shoes. Another Akira Kurosawa classic, Seven Samurai. Followed by another Guillermo del Toro film, big surprise, The Shape of Water. Brian De Palma's Sisters. My favorite film from 2019, though I go between this and Pieces of a Woman, but Sound of Metal, really great movie. And there's the Iranian film Taste of Cherry, a fun samurai flick, The Three Outlaw Samurai. It's the more condensed version of Seven Samurai if you don't want to watch a really long movie. This one's pretty breezy. Next up is another Kurosawa film, of course, is Throne of Blood, one of his best. One of the few animated films in the Criterion collection, that's Watership Down. It's a very graphic animated film. And then, last but not least, is Victims of Sin. And that is all of my Criterions. And I do own like 2 A24 films that I just put here too, and that was Materialist, which came out earlier this year, as well as Darren Aronofsky's Pi. Alright, over here I have some movies up top. So there is my Star Wars collection. If you're wondering, where are the Star Wars films? They're right there. I have the 6 steelbooks. I have the anthology of the 6 films right there. Force Awakens and Rogue One. No other films in the new trilogy. Moving on to the Planet of the Apes series collection, I have the original 60s into the 70s series with all 5 films. Then I have, of course, the last trilogy, Rise, Dawn, and War of the Planet of the Apes. We have some Super 8 reels here of the first film from the 60s, and then the second film as well. Then I have the Predator shelf that consists of the first Predator film, Predators with Adrian Brody. I do have the Alien Anthology, which is the first 4 films. Then we have Prometheus, and then for whatever reason I also do have Alien vs. Predator and Alien vs. Predator Requiem. With that wraps up my entire Blu-ray collection. As you can see, I'm running out of room to put all these movies, and it's just ever growing. So do comment your thoughts down below in the comments section. Make sure to hit that like down below, and of course subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I will see you guys in another video.